Well, Europe has come under renewed criticism over its treatment of migrants. For years, thousands of asylum seekers have been living in inhumane conditions in Greece. 5 Greek islands near the Turkish coast have become known as hotspots, where refugees live in overcrowded, unsanitary conditions. More than a third are children, mostly without access to education. Now, the EU says that Turkey should take them in as part of a deal reached with Ankara 5 years ago. But many experts say that deal is a human rights disaster. DW's Max Zander reports on the situation on the island of Lesbos.
A prominent guest at the EU's most notorious migration hotspot. While EU Commissioner Ylva Johannsson toured Mavrovouni camp in a guarded convoy earlier this week, journalists were given a rare opportunity to visit the nicer parts of the overcrowded facility. Scenes of women exercising in the spring sun starkly contrast these pictures from last winter when residents had to hold on to their tents while the sea flooded their homes. We meet Joko from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He tells us he has been here for 16 months. We are living like animals, without documents. I've had my asylum interview already, but haven't heard anything since. This is the sad fate we face. More than 13,000 people are stuck in these hotspots on the North Aegean Islands as part of a system designed to help Greece cope with high numbers of irregular arrivals. As part of the EU's 2016 migration deal with Turkey, Greek authorities with EU support have to examine whether each person arriving here has a right to asylum. Those whose claims are rejected must return to Turkey, and as long as asylum seekers don't have an answer, they can't leave the islands. Critics claim this model is simply not working.
It creates a situation of deep injustice because people are kept in some cases for many years in the hot spots. And as we've seen, the conditions there are appalling. They're really not effective. If we look at the Court of Auditors reports on the hotspots, for instance, they show that they're extremely expensive and not serving the original purposes of rapid decision on cases.
Instead of setting up appropriate infrastructure to deal with asylum cases in a swift manner, 5 years on from when the deal was signed, authorities are operating in emergency mode. Even EU Commissioner Johansson agrees this system has to change.
I don't want to have hotspots. I would like to have proper reception facilities where people should not stay for long and then have a better return and relocation system. We need to Europeanize migration issue and to stand by each other and not leave any member state or island alone.
The EU Commission has proposed a new approach to asylum, under which asylum applications would be processed within days at the bloc's external borders. But critics fear this might lead to a situation similar to what we're seeing today. Hotspots all over again.
Let's bring in Franziska Brantner. She is a member of the German Parliament and the Green Party's spokesperson for European policy. Welcome to the program, and thank you for joining us. We've just been witnessing there some of those terrible conditions for asylum seekers on Lesbos, for example. In your view, what do you think might have gone wrong with the hotspot approach?
Everything has gone wrong. It's terrible that we still have these really, really bad and unacceptable conditions on the islands. There has been European money going there. It was just said in the report. It's not a question of adding money to it. It's a political decision by the Greek government to have terrible conditions on these islands because they still believe it will incite others not to come. But we also have other European countries refusing to accept a distribution of those living on the islands right now. For example, the German government is accepting some, but very few, only only when there has been a crisis. We still don't have any real system, and it's high time to change that.
And in fact, you've called for a more realistic approach, a more coordinated European approach to asylum policy. What exactly might that look like, and is it realistic?
I think it's important that we do establish centers where you do register people and then you distribute them across the EU for checking their asylum status. And we won't be able to do this at 27. I don't think it's realistic. But I think that it will be realistic to start with a few, to go ahead and start changing the system, because the current one is not acceptable. And that needs pressure on the Greek government. It needs pressure on Europe, on some of the other EU governments. And I think, as you said, it's not realistic at 27. We need a coalition of those who are not accepting any longer to have such conditions within the EU.
What more would you like to see from European countries, for example, from Germany?
I want my German government to finally accept and make possible that those cities and states within Germany that have said we are ready to take on people from the Greek islands to Baden-Württemberg, to many cities who said we are ready to do this. And it's the German federal government blocking this. I don't understand it. I just want Mr. Seehofer to give this free and to say if states in Germany are ready to accept them, to help Greece, to help these citizens in need, then we should really make this possible.
Franziska Brantner, member of the German Parliament and the Green Party spokesperson for European policy. Thank you.
Thank you.